Everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. All right. So today we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on apostrophes. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, all right. So we are doing the chapter of apostrophes, right? Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 7, and um, the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of apostrophe. All right, so we're going to identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. All right, so when it comes to plurals as well as possessive nouns, right? That is where we use now apostrophe and an S, right? To show the position or to show that someone or something it belongs to them, right? All right. So firstly, before we go on to the apostrophe, right? There is a difference between an apostrophe and a plural noun, right? So plural noun, it names one, it names more than one person, animal, or thing, right? All right. So we say that a plural noun, right? It names more than one person, animal, or thing, right? So it's more than one. It's anything that is two or more. And a possessive noun, right? It shows who or what owns something or has something, right? So who or what owns something or has something. That is a possessive noun. So if something belongs to you, we can say it is Sith's, but we need to put an apostrophe and an S. So if we maybe say it belongs to Sith, then we can say it's Sith's game, for example. All right. Or if we were to look at another name or another word with an apostrophe, we can that shows position or possessive. We can maybe say Leo, right? So Leo's ball, right? And that shows position, shows that the ball belongs to Leo. It also shows that the game belongs to Seth. All right. So when it comes to an apostrophe, right? So an apostrophe is this little thingy there on top that looks like a comma, but on top, and then it has an so it's an apostrophe and is. So most of our apostrophes are going to be where it's an apostrophe and an is that you need to add to a specific word, right? To show who or what owns or has something. All right. So an apostrophe, right? So we add an apostrophe, which is, for example, there in the bracket, to a single noun to make it a possessive noun, right? All right. And if we look at an example, it says single nouns, and we said an apostrophe as well as an is, right? We add an apostrophe and an is to a single noun to make it a possessive noun, right? And I made an example when I said Seth's game, Leo's ball, and the apostrophe and an is that we showed within that sentence. It's the same as here, the glove belonging to Matt. So we can say it is Matt's glove. And there we have an apostrophe as well as an is to show who it belongs to. Then the bird, we can say the bird's wing. Maybe the bird's wing is hurt, sore, or something. All right, so we say with these Matt's glove, and we added an apostrophe and s to show something belongs to Matt. Or we can say the bird's wing, right? And apostrophe and s was also added there to the bird's wings, right? But now we have when the plural noun ends with an S, right, to show that there is more than one, right? So when the plural noun ends with an S, then we just add an apostrophe. We don't still add an apostrophe and an S. And once we apply or we just add an apostrophe, right, then it will make it a possessive noun. All right, so we said that when it is a plural noun, right, and the word ends with an S, but yet we want to make a reference to show that something belongs to the boys. All right. So if we look at this example, right, where it says the boys, remember we're referring to more than one boy already. So they are boys, right? But now if we want to talk about their camp, then we say the boys' camp. And as you can see, we only added an apostrophe. We didn't still add an S also, just an apostrophe because the word already ends with an S. And in the schools' teams. All right, so when it comes to apostrophes, right, we see an apostrophe, it basically shows what or who owns something. It's like you're taking possession of that specific thing, right? We own something, we what we own, who we own, right? That is all right. So we can say the boys, and the boys is we only add an apostrophe. But if it's let's say, for example, like Seth don't have an S, so now we add the apostrophe and the S. And then we also have plural nouns. Once again, it names a person, a place, an animal, or thing, right? All right. All right. And then when a plural noun does not end in S. So this is now where the difference comes in with plural nouns and possessive nouns, right? So when a plural noun does not end with an S, right? We add an apostrophe and an S to make it a possessive noun. For example, right? Children. Children, yes, it refers to more than one child, right? It refers to more than one child. And now it says the children's toys. We need to show that something belongs or, is yours. So the children. So if we were to, for example, make mention of the children and maybe the toys or anything else. And for example, mice. Mice refers to more than one, but mice, the mice's tail. All right. So now let's go to our test, right? Where we are going to identify and correct errors with plural and possessive noun. So we're going to identify and correct errors with plural as well as possessive nouns. Guys, if we look at the difference between a plural noun and a possessive noun, right? A plural noun, it basically shows, let's say, anything that is two or more, right? All right. And we see that apostrophes, it basically shows ownership, who owns something, who has something, right? All right, so now let's go to our lesson. It says identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. All right, so we said a plural names more than one person, place, or thing. And then a possessive noun shows who or what owns something or has something, right? That is what we said. So that is a difference that we need to know, that a plural subject or plural noun, it names more than one person, animal, place, or thing. All right. So we said a plural noun, more than one person. Possessive noun shows who owns or has something. And once again, guys, when we put an apostrophe and an S, right? Remember that it shows that it's a noun. It basically shows that the noun either owns something or has something. It belongs to that person or thing, right? But you add an apostrophe and an S to show the position. Because if you're not going to put an apostrophe and an S and you just put an S, right? We would generally assume that it is. So you need to put an apostrophe and an S as well as an S for plural nouns. All right, so let us go to our test, right? So we're going to our test where we're going to identify and correct the errors with plural and possessive nouns. It says find the plural or the possessive error. Select the it type it correctly. So fields of, do we say fields of dandelions lined the highway between our town and the coast. The flowers round with seed heads bobbed in the gentle freeze bone. So fields of, should we say fields of dandelions, number one, or the second option? So they say we need to find the plural or possessive error. So now I'm not sure if the error means we should choose the correct one or write the correct one. Let's quickly choose one that is not correct. And then we see from there. Ah, so they just want us to choose the correct one. Ne? So they just want us to choose the correct one. All right. So have you had lunch at the Peasant Hill Diner? The restaurant's menu features several fantastic salads, including one with fresh tuna and peaches. All right, so we now have to say, have you had lunch at the Peasant Hill Diner? The restaurant's menu features several fantastic salads, including one of the fresh tuna and peaches. All right, so we're going to choose between these two, and we say it is the restaurant's menu that features many, many different things. All right, we need to find the plural or possessive era, right? It says before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation options were horse driven coach and railway. All right, and if we find the possessive era, and then we're going to say before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation option was horse driven coach and railway. Ah, it's the first one. Sorry. All right, so Brian's thoughts wandered from his grocery list to some concerns he had about his career. So Brian's thoughts wandered from his grocery list to some concerns he had about his career. So Brian's thoughts wandered from his grocery list to some concerns he had about his career. All right, then we choose the second option for Brian because it's Brian and then apostrophe S. Unlike most woodpeckers, Alabama's state bird, the yellow hammer woodpecker, doesn't have the strength to drill into most trees, so it usually searches for food along the ground. All right, so we need to find the plural or the possessive era. Oh, gosh, 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 gosh. And we choose the second one. All right, so we said we need to find the plural or possessive era. The American Civil War's last battle in the Battle of Palmetto Range occurred on the banks of the Rio Grande in Texas. So we need to say if it is either plural or it's possessive era. So we can say the America's Civil Wars. Both of these are actually the same. All right, let's just choose anyone because both is the same. I don't know. I don't see the difference between the two. I really don't see the difference with the two because both were the same, but yet they're giving us the one that is wrong. All right. So cactus shaped and sizes can vary significantly. Some species grow no wider than half an inch, while others can grow up to 60 feet tall. So the shape of the cactus. So we can say cactus shape. So cactus shapes and sizes can vary significantly. Some species grow no wider than half an inch, while others can grow up here. Right? Sometimes we choose the correct one and then it's not. So I don't know if you need to choose the incorrect one. All right, let's do the last one. According to the organization's findings, eating 7 servings of vegetables per day reduces the risk of early death by 42%. Eating 7 servings of vegetables. That is a plural. Plural. It's going to be vegetables. Is going to be plural, not possessive, right? So we're going to say the second one, which is according to the organization's finding, eating 7 servings of vegetables per day reduces the risk of early death by 42%. All right. All right. So we said with apostrophes, right? And plural, the difference between plural and possessive nouns is that plural shows more than one, right? Plural shows an indication of there's more than one thing, either more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing, right? So it's the plural of that thing. So if it's not one person, but we're referring to two or more people, two or more places, two or more things, right? And usually with plurals, it only ends with an S, right? Because now it's like we are just like saying there's more than one person. So it would be boys, be girls, vegetables, houses, cupboards, right? Anything that just shows that there's more than one of the things, right? That is plurals. But then possessive nouns, it shows who or what owns something or has something, right? And with a possessive noun, right, you add an apostrophe to a singular noun to make it possessive, right? And it shows that something or someone owns something. So we don't just add an S, we need to add an apostrophe and an S. So we put an apostrophe and an S. Or if the if the possessive noun already ends with an S, so we can say with possessives, we either add an apostrophe only, or we can add an apostrophe and an S. And the time we add an apostrophe only is when the possessive noun, right, it ends with, let's say, for example, it shows that there's more than one person and it ends with an S, right? So to show possession, we only add an apostrophe because it's already an S, so only an apostrophe. But when it comes to a singular noun, right, and we want to show position, then we add an apostrophe as well as an S. All right. And if we look at this one, it says, have you had lunch at the peasant's diner with fresh tuna? So, have you had lunch at the peasant's diner? The restaurant's menu features several fantastic salads, including one with fresh tuna and peaches. The restaurants. So, which means that the word restaurant we're going to write down, but we're going to write restaurants with an apostrophe and an S. With an apostrophe and an S. It's going to be restaurants, apostrophe and S. And then we can also say Kathy's favorite saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, reflects her positive attitude towards life. So lemons, right? In this case, our word lemons, it refers to, this is not an apostrophe, but it refers to it being plural, right? So it is plural because it shows that there is more than lemon, right? So if life gives you lemons, it refers to more than one lemon, right? So we just added an is to show the plural noun, but not an apostrophe. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.